What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Movie Raised.
With over 1,500 TV shows and more than 4,000 movies, Netflix is bound to have some bad eggs in the basket. But sometimes, Netflix makes mistakes and cancels shows for no apparent reason, and we're left wondering why a good show had to go. So here are the 10 Netflix shows you didn't know were canceled in 2020. Let's dive right into it, shall we? Number 10, Sense8. Want to know what it's like to be mentally linked with other people halfway across the globe that you never met before? Well, this is exactly what Sense8 is all about. After one woman kills herself to avoid captivity, she links 8 souls and 8 personalities with different professional backgrounds. Each of them can borrow the skills and the experiences of the other 7, and they can use them to achieve some crazy feat, and kicking ass is one of them. The Sense8s are not only mentally linked, but they also smash that like button if you haven't done so already, but they also share an emotional link between them, one which is very hard to break. But even though this series talked about identity, sexuality, gender, and politics, guess not many people were interested in this, so the show ended up being canceled.
Don't worry.
Do I know you?
Yeah. We had sex.
What? Oh,
Number 9. Everything Sucks. When you go to a school called Boring High School, are you still surprised about the title of the show? The events take place in the miniature town of Boring in Oregon, where one of the 2 clubs around which all action centers are the AV Club and the Drama Club. The show centered around the tough life of teenagers, their problem of trying to figure out making new friends, being original, and fit in with the others, which we don't need telling you is one heck of a job to do. But that's not all. Aside from the social problems, the students are having problems with their sexuality and all of the confusion that comes with it. Not to mention all of the family-related difficulties that teenagers like Luke, Kate, and many others on the show. Boy, that sounded dark. Would we lighten the mood a little if we told you the show is actually a comedy drama?
I like you. Is that okay?
Yes.
Number 8. 7 Seconds. If you are easily triggered by the injustice that African American citizens have to endure because of some racist cop, then we would suggest you avoid watching this movie. Why? Because it's like someone took the Black Lives Matter protests and turned them into a freaking movie. As for the actual story, it goes something like this. You see, Peter Jablonski hits a black teenager with his car. The injury turns out to be fatal, so Britton Butler dies on the scene of the accident. The Caucasian cop calls some of his friends from the police station, and they cover up the murder. But this is where the show goes a little dark while staying hopeful. You see, Brenton's mom is not the one to give up on her son that easily. She starts an investigation which is supposed to get to the bottom of the disappearance of her son. Civil unrest ensues in Jersey City, and before we could know what happens to the cops in the investigation, Netflix announced that they would be canceling the show. What a letdown.
There was a white man in his room that first night that we were there, and I found this. I found it in Brenton's bed. Why would he have one of his seagulls?
Number 7. No Good Nick. For some shows, classification is everything, and this became a question of life and death for No Good Nick. But we'll get to that in a second. Now, let's talk plotline. No Good Nick talks about a 13-year-old girl by the name of Nicole, who lies and infiltrates the Thompson family and tries to inflict some pain and suffering. Just another form of revenge, if you will. But even though her father Tony is pushing her to do some horrifying things, Nicole starts getting close to the family, and she even starts being sympathetic towards them. But there was a problem with this type of show on Netflix. Mainly, the problem arose when Netflix couldn't really pinpoint the genre of this show, as well as their target audience. Despite having a lot of Disney, Freeform, and Nickelodeon fans on board, making a teenage show with a ton of physical violence and drama just didn't seem to cut it. This is why Netflix canceled it after only 1 season.
Where were you? I've been waiting at the train station all day.
Who are you?
I'm Nick. Nicole Patterson? I'm here to live with you.
Number 6. The Society. We never even got close to figuring out what caused everyone in the small town of West Ham, Connecticut to mysteriously disappear. And we can thank the COVID-19 pandemic for this. But aside from that, the story of the show is a little grim. You see, it's a post-apocalyptic world where everyone is gone from the town and a group of teenagers have to grow up much faster than they thought. When their field trip gets canceled, they come home to a ghost town, not being able to contact anyone from the outside world. On top of that, West Ham is surrounded by a dense forest and there's no way in and no way out. With limited resources, new rules, and a lot of growing up, our heroes had to adapt to the harsh world around them and learn how to survive with nothing more than the basic tools. However, and we say this again, that darn COVID-19 didn't let us see how they would have handled this difficult situation.
So after Thanksgiving, I'm gonna lead a search party to look for farmland and for alternative food supplies.
Number 5. Daybreak. We're starting to get the feeling that Netflix doesn't really like post-apocalyptic worlds with teenagers inside. Why? Because this is yet another show they've gotten rid of, and it's pretty darn similar to our previous pick, The Society. Now, as for the actual show, this one's a little different. This is actually a comedy drama which features one main teenager by the name of Josh Wheeler, who is only 17 years old. In a world similar to that of Mad Max, Josh is on a quest to find his long-lost girlfriend in the godforsaken world. Along the way, he recruits a few friends and a ton of enemies. He has to fight evil jocks, Amazonian cheerleaders, and of course, no post-apocalyptic world would be complete without zombies, although here they've called ghoulies. With one eye on the prize and the other one on the road, Josh would have kicked some serious ass in Daybreak, but unfortunately, we never got to see the end of the show.
You touch my Magic the Gathering cards, and I will haunt your ass. You don't want to fuck with paranormal Eli. I'm terrifying as shit. Eli.
Number 4. Insatiable. Although this title might lead you to believe the show talks about the forever hungry Patty Bladell, the basic premise is quite different. You see, Patty is this chubby girl in a high school of jocks and cheerleaders, and every single one of them is actually making fun of Patty. Things were about to change over the summer break. You see, once Patty had a little mishap with one homeless man, she decides to lose weight and do it fast. When she returns to the school, no one can even believe this is the same girl that was once obese. With her stunning looks and hell-bent on revenge, Patty is looking for blood. You see, this hunger for vengeance is why the show was called Insatiable. But it seems like many teens didn't like this dark comedy drama, so Netflix ended up canceling the show only after a single year. Even we have to agree that her methods were a bit rough.
I was ugly on the inside, so it didn't matter what my outsides looked like. Not anymore. So who cared what I ate? I just didn't want to feel this pain.
Number 3. Girlboss. The name of this show pretty much says it all. It's a story about a girl that's trying to become her own boss. A girl that's trying to flip clothing for a profit, just like real estate agents are flipping houses for a profit. This series was actually based on the true story of Sophia Amoroso, who started her own company called Nasty Girl. You see, Sophia was actually forced to do this after her online business of flipping clothes got shut down thanks to the negative reviews on eBay. But even though it was based on the biography book by the same name, it didn't make it through Netflix's strict benchmarks.
Give you $8 for it.
No way. The tag says 12.
$9, and I'll give you some free business advice.
Deal. So, what's the advice?
This is an original 1970s East-West calfskin motorcycle jacket in perfect condition.
Number 2. Glow. This show was actually pretty cool if you liked the 80s. For 3 seasons, it told the story of Ruth Wilder, who was struggling to break through in showbiz. Jumping around from one small, pathetic part onto the next, she finds herself auditioning for a role where she has to play a female wrestler. But little did she know, this wasn't actually a part. She was called to actually become a female wrestler and be a part of the Glow, or Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. Even though she was hesitant at first, she jumped on the opportunity to be featured in what would potentially become one of the greatest wrestling shows at the time. But sadly, the shows got canceled this year, with the 4th season already signed.
And I will not be bullied into submission.
You're reading the man's part.
Oh, God.
Number 1. Teenage Bounty Hunters. Teenage Bounty Hunters is one of the shows that marked 2020. It was one of those teenage comedy dramas that you don't forget easily, and it features fraternal twins Sterling and Blair, who get involved with a bounty hunter by the name of Bowser Simmons, who teaches them the craft of killing for money. It's not every day that you see two teenage girls earning tons of money, dealing with life problems, and still having fun. Sadly, Netflix didn't shine the green light, so we had to say our goodbyes.
I'm thinking of something that won't get us arrested.
Bounty hunters can get arrested?
Yes.
And on that note, we end this video. But hey, which of these shows were you actually watching and were heartbroken when it got canceled? You can tell us in the comment section below. If you'd like more videos like these, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss any of them. And as always, thanks for watching, guys.